Hi, I'm Millie Mackintosh, and I'm excited to mark the launch of Disney's Ultimate Princess celebration by reading from the brand new story collection, Tales of Courage and Kindness. This global campaign uses the stories of Disney's beloved princesses to inspire courage and kindness. I'm going to read Ariel's story, which I hope you'll enjoy. Let's get started. Shine of the Sea. Ariel burst over a ridge of coral, trying to flip her fins as quickly as she could. She was late for her concert rehearsals, again. Her sisters would be furious. Again! She swam even faster, her long red hair blossoming out behind her. Although it was night, the palace shone in front of her, gleaming golden as if lit by the sun. She heard her sisters before she saw them. Their singing carried through the waters to her ears. She followed the sweet sound into the concert hall, a chamber with grand arches and a row of benches. The mermaids were lined up on stage, each of their tails a different colour. When they saw her, their singing came to an abrupt stop. "Look who's decided to show up," said Atina, the elder sister. She narrowed her eyes at Ariel. "What's with you lately?" The other sisters crossed their arms in annoyance. "I'm sorry, Ariel paused. She wasn't about to tell her sisters the truth, that she'd been distracted ever since the night before when she'd saved a human sailor from drowning. She shrugged. "I guess I just forgot." Atina's eyebrows rose. "You forgot? Again? Let's hope you don't miss this concert too." Ariel winced, recalling how she completely missed their last show. Her sisters had been humiliated, and her father had given her a stern talking to about her careless behaviour. "You need to arrive on time, dear," Atina continued. "Yeah," Alana butted in. "I'll do over concerts tonight. Do you even know your part?" I do," Ariel said, but her shaky voice didn't sound very convincing. "Great." Atina flashed a sarcastic smile. "Then let's take it from the chorus, sisters." The mermaids began to sing again. Ariel let the notes pour from her mouth, clear as a bell, but as she sang, her sisters grew quiet. They swarmed around her, frowning. "What?" Ariel let out a nervous laugh. "Was I off key?" "Ariel, you're supposed to be singing in harmony with us," Atina said. "Your solo comes earlier in the song, which you would know if you weren't always fish-flaking out on rehearsals." Ariel laced her fingers together. "Please, Atina," she begged, "let me try again." "Forget it, Ariel," Atina said. "We don't have time. Our concert's in a few hours." "But maybe if I only sang my solo," Ariel began. Atina chuckled. "So now you get to be late and have your say in our arrangement." Arista and Aquata giggled, while Andrina, Adela and Alana averted their eyes. Ariel fought back tears. "Fine, I won't interfere," and with that she swam off. "Ariel, don't be so hasty," Adela called out. "Come on now, Ariel." "Yeah, we're sorry." Ariel half considered turning tail, until she heard Atina's voice. "There goes Ariel, acting like a baby again. Come on, girls, we don't need her." Fists balled at her side, Ariel torpedoed from the concert hall in an angry stream of bubbles. She was frustrated at herself for letting her sisters down, but she knew she could prove she was a team player, if only they would let her. Ariel, her best friend, Flounder, a yellow fish with blue stripes, fins and tail, swam after her. "Hey, what's wrong, Ariel?" "It's my sisters," she sniffled. "They don't want me singing with them." Flounder blew a raspberry. "I bet they're just jealous of your beautiful voice." Ariel gave him a slight smile. "Oh, Flounder, you're the best, but I was late to rehearsals." The little fish sighed. "What can I do to cheer you up?" Ariel paused before playfully raising an eyebrow. "Follow me." "Uh-oh," Flounder said. "I know that look. The one that says you're about to break the rules." He shook his head and pointed his fin back at the concert hall. "Ariel, don't you think we should?" But Ariel had already swum over the castle's sprawling coral lawns and was now rushing towards the forbidden surface, hoping to distract herself with a glimpse of the sailor she had rescued the night before. "Hey!" Flounder shouted after her. "Slow down, I'm coming." As they rose higher, something overhead caught Ariel's eye. The water's surface was glowing. "What is that?" Ariel asked. Flounder gulped. "Maybe we don't need to know?" Ariel broke through the glowing surface into the crisp night air and pushed back her bangs, marvelling at how the wave crests were gleaming with rainbow colours. She laughed and twirled, the water shimmering around her. The currents she created churned with a vibrant, multicoloured light, fizzing in a radiant display. She dipped below the surface and skimmed through the water, which flared around her like a cloak of glowing bubbles. She surfaced again. "Flounder, isn't this fantastic?" But it wasn't Flounder who replied. Merfolk from Atlantica aren't supposed to visit the surface. A merman had broken through the water beside her. He had coarse, short, cropped hair and a warm smile. Behind him bobbed 5 other unfamiliar merfolk. Each of them had an empty satchel slung over a shoulder. Ariel was shocked that the merfolk, other than herself, were at the surface, but she was also glad that she wasn't the only one who dared to swim by her own rules. "I was just curious about this glowing." She wasn't about to admit to the strangers how frequently she visited the surface. "You're not supposed to be here either, you know. It's not forbidden in Pacifica, where we're from," the merman said. He introduced the other merfolk before pointing to himself. "My name's Zeke." "I'm Ariel, and this scaredy fish is Flounder," Ariel said as her fish friend peeked out from behind her hair. Flounder waved sheepishly. "So do you come to the surface often?" he asked Zeke. "You're not afraid?" "Going to the surface can be very dangerous," Zeke said. "We've only come up here when we need something. My friends and I have come a long way to find this brilliant algae bloom." He traced his fingers along the surface, which gleamed iridescent at his touch. "The sea is sparkling with it tonight." Ariel's heart swelled. She'd found others who shared her adventurous spirit. "So that's what this is, an algae bloom," she said, watching a pod of dolphins zip past, their bodies brightening like starlight as they dove through the shimmering water. I wondered why I'd never seen this before. "Overglow is rare," Zeke said. "Overglow?" Ariel inquired. "That's what we call it," Zeke said. "It's also known as shine of the sea." He grinned. The merfolk were shoving handfuls of overglow into their satchels. Ariel pointed out the satchels to Flounder. "I wish I'd bought my satchel." Zeke smiled. "There's plenty of overglow to go round." "Why are you collecting it?" Ariel asked. She noticed that the merfolk were rubbing it into their scales, slicking it through their hair and streaking it across their lips and eyebrows. Zeke's features glimmered. "Like it?" he asked. Ariel somersaulted, elated. "Oh, I love it. You look radiant." "The overglow protects us," Zeke explained. "On the surface, it helps us blend in with the moonlight so we're invisible to any predators below. And when we visit the deep sea, the overglow makes predators think we're toxic to eat." "The deep sea?" Ariel breathed. "I've never been there." "You're in luck," Zeke said. "We're about to dive down there to follow the currents to the next kingdom. We'd be happy to give you a tour." Ariel's eyes went wide. "Let's go!" Flounder swam to Ariel's ear and whispered, "I'm not sure that's such a good idea." Zeke chuckled. "Don't worry, little guy. Just stay close to us and you'll be fine." One of the mermaids studied Ariel and Flounder's fins. "But first," she said, "you'll need a little glow up." Before Flounder could object, Zeke's mermaid friends surrounded him and Ariel, turning them this way and that in a dizzying swirl of bubbles. When the mermaids backed away, Ariel looked down at herself and gasped. "It's lovely." Ariel's entire tail was shining and sparkling. Her fingernails twinkled. Even Flounder's stripe looked more dazzling than ever. Once his eyes stopped rolling around from dizziness, he did a happy little loop-de-loop. "Now you're ready. Come on." Zeke plummeted, his friends whooping as they followed. A smile washed across Ariel's face. Then, with a sinking feeling, she recalled the squabble with her sisters and wished they were as welcoming to her whims as her new friends. Shaking off the thought, she flicked her fins, folded over, and dove after them. Wait for me," Flounder called. The water grew darker and colder. Before Ariel knew it, they were down at the ocean floor, a deserted part of the seabed, with bleached bone-white coral and wisps of tall black grass. This couldn't be the deep sea Zeke had spoken of. There were a few places left in Atlantica that she had yet to explore, including the evil sea witch's lair that she'd heard so much about. But she'd already been down to this part of the ocean so many times. It was nothing new or remarkable. But then she saw the merfolk slip into a dark fissure running along the ocean floor. She followed them, twisting her body to enter the crack. Inside, she could see it was a trench leading downwards. Ariel, not to sound like a guppy, but I have a bad feeling about this, Flounder said. But the chance to delve somewhere new filled Ariel's stomach with butterfly fish excitement. She pumped her fins, eager to explore the unknown. Come on, Flounder, there's nothing to fear. Just then, a huge glowing sea creature reared up out of the dark. Monster! Flounder screamed. We're gonna die! Ariel spiraled out of its way, slamming back against the trench wall. As Flounder cowered in her hair, she caught her breath, peering down at the horrifying beast. It had long tentacles like a hideous giant squid, and large glowing eyes that stared them down. The creature hovered in place, blocking Ariel and Flounder from following the rest of the merfolk down into the trench. Zeke, are you okay? Ariel called down. As Zeke emerged into view below, the fearsome glowing sea creature scattered. Its menacing eyes and terrifying tentacles seemed to break apart in a flurry of little dots and light. Ariel blinked hard. It hadn't been a fearsome creature at all, but a group of tiny glowing shrimp. They'd come together to scare her, and it had worked. Flounder, she said, pushing him out of her hair. We're okay. Zeke gestured to Ariel. Come on, we're nearly there. You mean we're not there yet? Flounder stammered. Is someone getting cold fins? And with that, Ariel plunged. Flounder followed. Ariel, what's that saying about curiosity killed the catfish? Flounder, will you relax? She whispered back. Down they swam. The trench grew narrower, the water even colder. Finally, a current spat Ariel out into a dark realm of glowing coral and fish, the deep sea. Oh my gosh, she said, taking it all in. Every creature was aglow. From bobtail squid and comb jellies to dragonfish and lantern sharks, lighting up the dark space like a starry night sky. Her eyes followed a vivid starfish, then a glowing anglerfish. She playfully prodded a jellyfish with tentacles of rainbow lights and got a closer look at a tiny fish flashing like lightning. Have you ever seen anything so amazing? Ariel asked. Flounder replied, but his eyes were wide with wonder. Zeke and the others made their way through a school of glimmering fish. As she followed the merfolk, Ariel could only make out their overglow streaked tails, which shone neon in the pitch-dark water. The same went for Flounder, whom she only recognised purely from the glow of his distinct stripes, fins and tail. Her own tail was lit up like magic, along with her fingernails and hair. So what do you think? Zeke asked Ariel. I love it. She gestured at the glittering creatures that swam around them. Are they covered in overglow too? Zeke shook his head. Creatures down here make their own light. Monster! Flounder shrieked, darting behind Ariel. Flounder, not again. But Ariel froze. There, at the edge of the trench, appeared a giant, glowing squid. Not a bunch of shrimp disguised to look like one, but a real giant squid. It opened its beak and let out a terrible screech, sending the creatures swimming off to hide among the coral. The hungry giant squid was heading right for Ariel and her friends. I thought you said that overglow would keep us safe from the predators, Flounder squeaked. Stay back, Zeke ordered. He slathered a piece of coral with overglow and tossed it with all his might. The squid will go after the decoy, one of the merfolk explained. Works every time. Ariel held her breath as the squid halted and watched the coral drifting past. But then the squid snapped the coral decoy in half with its beak. It continued towards them, screeching hungrily as it closed in. It didn't work, cried Ariel. Now what? Glow screen, Zeke shouted to his friends, who emptied their satchels so the overglow burst out into a cloud of light. This will surely distract it. Now swim. The merfolk turned tail as the monstrous squid got lost in the billow of overglow. I think it's worked, Flounder piped, as they followed the merfolk around the corner. They came to a stop inside a cavern. The merfolk felt along the walls for an exit, but there was no escape. Zeke whirled around. It's a dead end. "What are we going to do?" squealed Flounder. "I've an idea," Ariel exclaimed. Recalling how the shrimp had come together to form a frightening monster, she quickly rounded up the merfolk and gathered them together to create a shape of a large, glowing shark. Their luminous fins formed its jagged teeth. The squid appeared at the cabin's entrance, looming out of the darkness. Flounder, playing the shark's eye, whimpered, "Ariel, I don't know if it's working." The squid spread its massive, deadly tentacles, opened its sharp beak, preparing to swallow them whole. "Flick your fins and don't stop," Ariel instructed all the merfolk. They did as they were told, making it appear as if the shark was opening its mouth wide and chomping its huge teeth. The squid recoiled with a shriek and suddenly retreated. Together, Ariel and her friends had scared it off. Her bright idea had worked. "That was some quick thinking," one of the merfolk told Ariel. "You totally saved our tails," another agreed. "It was a team effort," she replied. If only her sisters had been there to see how well she had worked with the others. "You sure know how to put on a good show, Ariel," Flounder chimed in. She gasped, "Oh my gosh, the concert with my sisters, I've got to go." Zeke handed a satchel to Ariel. "Please take this as a parting gift." She peeked inside. There was still lots of overglow left. "Oh, thank you, Zeke. But don't you need this to continue on your way through the deep sea?" "The algae bloom is still up there," he replied. "We can always get more. What's important is that we're able to give back to someone who helped us out." Ariel beamed. "It was wonderful meeting all of you. I hope our currents cross again someday." As the other merfolk cheered in agreement, Ariel and Flounder started towards home. An excited chatter filled the water around the palace. The concert was about to begin. Ariel found her sisters putting their makeup on in the vanity room mirrors. "Look what the catfish dragged in." Bettina glared at her. "Late again, I see." Arista ran a conch comb through her hair. "At least she didn't leave us high and dry this time." "I still can't fathom what was more important than yesterday's concert," Quatta said with a sneer. Ariel cleared her throat. I'd like to say something to all of you." Tina snorted. "This should be good." "I'm sorry for being late and missing out," Ariel started, "and I promise to sing in harmony so that we all shine together as a team. That is, if you'll have me back." Atina looked at her other sisters. "I understand if I'm too late and you don't want me to perform with you," Ariel continued. "But even if I'm not singing with you tonight, I wanted to give this to all of you." She opened the satchel to reveal the overglow. Atina peered inside. "Ew, what is that shiny slime?" "Overglow." Ariel applied a fresh coat to her lips, eyelids, and hair. Her sisters hovered around, curious. When Ariel snapped her fingers, a huge cloud of tiny shrimp entered the room, gathering around the lights and plunging the room into darkness, just as Ariel had asked them to do. The sisters gasped. "Ariel, you're glowing in the dark," a Quatta observed. "I'm impressed," Atina admitted. "Where do you get this stuff?" "That's not important, is it?" Ariel teased. "I knew you'd all like it." Atina rested a hand on Ariel's shoulder. "We like you, and we need you, don't we, girls?" A little while later, the daughters of Triton took their places inside their clamshells under the stage in the crowded concert hall. After the fanfare from the trumpet fish, and after Sebastian the crab started up the orchestra, King Triton waved his trident so that the stage lights went out, just like Ariel had requested. Suddenly, the concert hall was as dark as the deep sea itself. Whispers rippled up from the audience. The orchestra trilled and swelled as the overglowing clamshells rose onto the stage. One by one, each clamshell snapped open to reveal a mermaid whose tail and hair were covered in shining streaks of overglow. Last to emerge was Ariel, sparkling green and purple as she let her solo notes bubble out. Then Ariel let her voice slip into harmony with her sisters as they swam together to form a single glowing rainbow. When the sisters hit their final perfect note, the twinkling shrimp floated in right on cue to illuminate the water around them like starlight. The crowd roared with the loudest applause the sisters had ever received. The concert had gone off swimmingly. It was a performance Ariel would cherish forever as her shining musical debut. Atina squeezed her hand. Ariel, we couldn't have lit up a stage without you. I promised never to let you down again, Ariel said. Glowing with affection, Ariel pulled her sisters into a group hug. From now on, we shine together. The end. What a lovely story. To read more from the Tales of Courage and Kindness story collection, go to disneyprincessstories.co.uk.